You are now in the guest bedroom on the second level of the house. The bedrooms at Fallingwater are intimate individual shelters and contrast to open and larger outdoor terraces. Each bedroom has its own bath and private terrace, and each has its own character. Notice how a variety of architectural elements all work towards the same goal, to unite the vista without and the vista within. The drop in the ceiling surface draws your eye outward. This fold strengthens the reinforced concrete of the floor above you and, in principle, operates in much the same way as folding a piece of paper into a fan creates rigid beam strength. At its lowest, the ceiling is 6 feet 4.5 inches high, accentuating the sheltering human scale of Wright's architecture. Original wood-slat Venetian blinds on the windows shield the room from the master terrace. Headboards for beds are permanently built into the east walls. This room had 2 single beds fitting its headboard, but one was removed when the house was opened to the public. Above the headboard is a framed drawing of a peasant man by the Mexican artist Diego Rivera. Wright designed the barrel chair you see at the desk to be used at the dining table, but the family found it uncomfortable and too restrictive in the dynamic space of the living room. Edgar Kaufman Jr. suggested using cork in the bathrooms for a soft, warm touch, a pleasant contrast to the cool flagstone floors. Following a health fad in the 1930s, Edgar Kaufman Sr. asked that the toilet bowls be sunk into the concrete floor slabs, only 10.5 inches above the floor. Fallingwater is, on the one hand, a dynamic, forceful, and open space, but in the hallways, one senses the cave-like and protective quality of shelter. As the tour proceeds to the next room, you will see 2 large engraved Audubon prints and a Latin American Madonna and Child. The rectangular cutout in the wall conceals a radiator. The master bedroom above the living room gives freely onto its terrace. In each bedroom at Fallingwater, except the guest bedroom, much attention was given to the fireplace. Here, notice the long horizontal mantel, the 3 large stones that play upon the theme of ledge and cantilever, and the stepped-in stones along the opposite side. In the niche is a late Gothic wood carving of the Madonna and Child from the French province of Burgundy. The lamp on the cantilevered corner desk is from the studio of Louis Comfort Tiffany, the famous American glass artist. By the lamp is a photograph of Edgar Kaufman Sr., taken as a young man. Left of the door is a Japanese wood block print by Hiroshige, one of 6 prints given by Frank Lloyd Wright to his client. A signed Picasso etching, The Smoker, is to the left of the bed. The adjoining bath for Lillian Kaufman is to the left of the terrace doors. It has a built-in walnut dressing table sink and sunken shower. The master terrace is the largest of the house, dramatically balanced over the waterfall at right angles to the first level. When you are out on the terrace, look back towards the house. Such was Frank Lloyd Wright's mastery of rhythm in horizontal line and plane that although the chimney mast rises more than 30 feet above the main floor, the house seems very low, a series of horizontal planes. He said, I see this extended horizontal line as the true earth line of human life, indicative of freedom, always. Edgar Kaufman Sr. used this room as his dressing room and study. Where the master bedroom was filled with the light of its terrace reflected in the ochre concrete, here dark stone walls are contrasted by a transparent wall of glass and steel, the middle section of the three-story window. Look over at the window and notice how the ceiling has been beveled so that it does not interrupt the continuity of the glass. Watch what happens when your tour guide opens a corner window. Wright explained, "My sense of wall was no longer the side of a box. It was the enclosure of space affording protection against the storm or heat only when needed. But it was also to bring the outside world into the house and let the inside of the house go outside." Near the fireplace, the glass is caulked directly into stone masonry and provides a continuity of surface as the interior stone wall continues past the window to become the exterior wall. When your guide opens the large window, it cuts through the desk in a quarter circle, a small detail of great impact. The stone bust you see on the desk is of Edgar Kaufman Jr., sculpted by African-American artist Richmond Barthé. The incandescent lamp beside the bed was designed by Wright. The Japanese print over the headboard is by Hiroshige. And that by the exit door is by Hokusai. The walnut wardrobes in all the bedrooms are wall-hung units with no support from beneath. Sap streaks emphasize the horizontal nature of the units. Inside, sliding shelves with cane inserts allow free circulation of air. Edgar Kaufman Sr. used this as his private terrace. Notice the deliberate stepping of the concrete staircase going to the third level. It's a reflection of the cascading nature of this site, as is the spectacular curved canopy to the left, which cascades down the hillside from the guest house to the main house. The limestone sculpture is one of 3 at Fallingwater by Mexican sculptor Mardonio Magana. In an interview with Hugh Downs, Wright explained a source for the design of Fallingwater. Mr. Kaufman loved the site where the house was built and liked to listen to the waterfall. I think you can hear the waterfall when you look at the design. Edgar Kaufman Jr. occupied the entire third level set to the north of the house at the top of the mass which counterbalances the projecting lower levels. This room was designed to be Edgar Kaufman Jr.'s bedroom, but was converted to a study after he moved his bed to the sun-filled alcove at the end of the hallway. Over the fireplace is a 40-inch slab of sandstone, naturally red from its high iron oxide content that was found during the quarrying. Edgar Kaufman Jr. designed the bookshelves on the 2 walls of this room. Edgar Kaufman Jr., who is in the center with his parents in this photograph, was a scholar of Frank Lloyd Wright, a critic and a curator of design at the Museum of Modern Art, and later an adjunct professor of architecture and art history at Columbia University. He thought of design not as a frill, but as an essential part of everyday life. After his parents died in the 1950s, he continued to use Fallingwater until 1963 and visited frequently until his death in 1989 at age 79. Out on the terrace, you will notice how Wright uses contrasting elements to create movement across a horizontal plane. On one side is the great stone chimney mass with 6 individual flues. Opposite, the glass walls of Edgar Kaufman Jr.'s bedroom alcove dissolve into space. The rectangular herb garden is positioned on top of the raised ceiling of the guest bathroom. Below the garden on the east side, there are 3 clear-story windows, providing light and ventilation for the bath. The enclosed bridge you're seeing now links the main house to the hillside, passing over the driveway. Natural sunlight pierces the concrete through 5 ceiling skylights equipped with bulbs for illumination at night. The hillside actually protrudes into the far end of the passageway. Look at the discolored stone, marking the path where groundwater drains through the building, into a drain around the base of the rock and onto the drive below. On the boulder is an Indian stone bust of Parvati, the Hindu goddess of love, dating to about the year 750 A.D. The painting on the wall is entitled Sleeping Child and is by Diego Rivera. At the exit door, the circular stone moss garden growing half on the inside, half on the out, beckons you to come outdoors. The bridge opens to a great curved walk leading up the hillside to the guest wing. The concrete canopy above the walkway is reinforced by steel rods woven in tension to form the kind of structure Wright liked to compare with a spider's web. Every essential element of the house is included in the canopy. It is cantilevered broadly, the slab is folded for strength and continuity, and it cascades down the hill. It also shelters you from the weather and frames the landscape, dominated by a huge oak tree. The guest house and main house act as buttresses for the canopy, providing pressure on each side. Support for the canopy is only necessary along its outer edge. At Fallingwater, water is ever present. It is the symbolic thread that illuminates the house. The swimming pool stretches 31 feet along the hillside and is 6 feet deep throughout. Cantilevered stone slabs placed at regular intervals beneath the water's surface form steps leading down for gradual entry into the pool. At the far end is a sculpture by the American ceramic artist Peter Volkos. The water supply for Fallingwater flows by gravity from Bear Run Reservoir on the east side of the highway. Today, the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy owns nearly 5,000 acres of land surrounding Bear Run and protecting its watershed. The water is very clean and cool, about 55 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Bear Run Nature Reserve has over 20 miles of trails and is open to the public every day of the year for hiking or cross-country skiing. The guest house and service wing were completed in 1939. Once again, notice how Wright has used the cantilever and horizontal line to create a comfortable, relaxed retreat. Here, professional stonemasons laid the stone in a smoother, more rectangular pattern than at the main house. Clear-story windows along the north wall provide light and ventilation. The large landscape Valley of Mexico depicts the famous twin volcanoes south of Mexico City and is by Jose Velasco. Below the clear-story window is a short gallery lined with walnut wardrobes leading to the living room. Cantilevered walnut shelves join with the wardrobe to create a long horizontal line which unites the bedroom and living room. The entry hall is defined by an open walnut screen. The corner fireplace is formed of broad stones. For extra sleeping space, the built-in sofa was designed 3 feet wide. On the walls you will see 3 Japanese prints by Hiroshige. And a Pablo Picasso etching, the artist and his model. You are now looking at the carport and servants' quarters. The Kaufmans employed 5 servants who traveled with them to Fallingwater. They would stay here in the rooms above the former carports. Additional staff lived year-round in other buildings on the grounds and were responsible for maintenance and landscape work. To the right is the chauffeur's room. On the second level are 2 single bedrooms and a double bedroom opening onto a terrace. These rooms were finished in the same quality as the bedrooms in the main house, with 1 bathroom servicing the entire wing. They are now used as offices by the Fallingwater staff. 3 of the 4 carports, an innovation in 1939, were enclosed in the 1970s to create a large room used as a conservancy lounge. Here visitors view a slideshow that highlights some of the many conservation activities of the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy. The designing and construction of Fallingwater is a testament to the genius of its architect and to the foresightedness of his clients. The original budget for the house was around $40,000. Final cost was approximately $155,000, which included the architect's fee of $8,000. This was at a time when a 4-bedroom brick home cost $4,000. Despite rising costs and endless engineering reports which questioned the structural stability of the house, Edgar Kaufman Sr. pursued its completion. He must have sensed that Frank Lloyd Wright had created a masterpiece, a powerful structural statement that symbolized the integration of man with nature. Fallingwater drew immediate attention from the media and, at age 67, revitalized Wright's career. He went on to design over 200 more buildings and residences, including the Johnson's Wax Building and the Hannah House in 1936, the Beth Shalom Synagogue in 1954, and the Guggenheim Museum in 1955. Frank Lloyd Wright was nearly 92 years old and still designing when he died in 1959. We hope you've enjoyed your tour of Fallingwater. You may take photographs from outside the house. After your party joins you again, and if you have time, spend a few hours here at Bear Run enjoying the natural beauty which refreshed the Kaufmans and inspired Frank Lloyd Wright. The land is the simplest form of architecture. Building upon the land is as natural to man as to other animals, birds, or insects. Insofar as he was more than an animal, his building became what we call architecture. Looking back, what then is architecture? It is man and more. It is man in possession of his earth. It is the only true record of him where his possession of earth is concerned. While he was true to the earth, his architecture was creative.